Hello and welcome to the September 2018 edition of the Plympton Podcast. I'm Andrew Hill. Coming up this month, we chat with the Deputy Lord Mayor Plymouth, Councillor Chris Mavin. Paul Hutchings gives us his perspective on the 2018 Plympton Gardeners Association Summer Show and gives us some hints on changes in the pipeline for 2019. And we meet the new High Sheriff of Devon, Grania Phillips. Chris Mavin, who lives in Plympton, became Plymouth's Deputy Lord Mayor in May. He explained to Charlotte Willis what it meant to him to be invested into the role.
I've been on the council now since 1987, and after all those years of service on and off, a couple of spells, then, I would like to do that role in the end because Plymouth is my home. I live and breathe. Extremely proud to be Deputy Lord Mayor. Why wouldn't you be? This is probably one of the greatest cities you'll ever come across. When you take the views out across the whole, and the fact that you've got the moors behind you, and the actual, the city itself, Plymouth, is just a beautiful city.
So, yeah.
And don't forget its people, because its people have got a heart of gold. You meet some fabulous people, and you see that more as you walk around as a Deputy Lord Mayor or the Lord Mayor. You just appreciate just how much those people and how warm and generous and giving and welcoming that they are.
What's it like to be a Deputy Lord Mayor? What do you have to do?
Oh, it's extremely interesting and exciting. You get to do a lot of things. The Lord Mayor is an extremely busy position within the city, and people do like to have the Lord Mayor in attendance at a lot of events that they do. And quite clearly, the Lord Mayor's not always available to be able to do everything that he's asked to do, or she is asked to do. So therefore, they have a deputy in order to be able to fill in, because we don't like to say no to the city. We don't like to say, sorry, we can't manage that. There's no such thing as can't, there's only won't. So what we try and do is to make sure that we give everybody the opportunity of having some form of representation there at their events, because it's special to them. It's special to them. And the Lord Mayor and Deputy Lord Mayor is special to those groups. They want to see us, they want us there to help them to celebrate, and we want to be doing that. So, it's an assisting post, if you like, but equally, it's very, very important to the people in the city that, when you go there with that element of respect to both the event, the people that are organising the event, and the people that they're trying to reach out there in the community as well.
Yep.
So, it's a great position to be in, and I absolutely love it. Love it. As a Plymouthian, I can't think of anything better.
And we'll be hearing more from the Deputy Lord Mayor later in this podcast. After having to cancel their spring show, Plympton Gardeners Association were determined that the summer show would be a success despite this year's challenging growing conditions. As the summer show, which was staged at Herod House, was nearing its end, I caught up with the show secretary, Paul Hutchings. Well, Paul, what a year. Earlier in the year, around about springtime, we had all that cold weather and snow, and then we've had probably the warmest and longest spell of hot weather since 1976, and then a week before the show, that torrential rain battering the produce. How difficult has all that combination of things been?
It's given us a completely different show to other years. This is unique. It will be a unique show for years to come. As you say, the spring show was cancelled because of the snow. That affected a lot of the exhibitors here today in the flower and the vegetable point of view. That affected the setting of the seeds, the germination, made them a little bit late. But with the show in August, that's not too bad. But then Mother Nature decided to bake everything. And I've got exhibitors who've shown every year for as long as I can remember, even before I took on the show secretary. And they're just not here this year because things just turned to seed. However, having said that, the show as a whole, domestic science stepped up, and one of the best years for domestic science, and handicraft again, all new items in handicraft, and again an exceptional turnout. So just a different show.
And looking at the things in the children's section here, I mean, the imagination they put into their exhibits is quite incredible, really.
Indeed, and luckily enough, call it what you want. I get good feedback from the youngsters. And yes, they're getting a little bit maybe fed up with my interpretation. So Next year, the classes will be arranged by one of our judges who also happens to be head of our at Plympton Academy.
Oh, right. Okay.
So myself and Maria have been talking, and Maria will be coming up with ideas for new classes to breathe some life back into the junior section.
I mean, we were talking about the difficult conditions that we've had this year in terms of growing. Is there anything that the novice gardener can do to at least have something to be able to put on benches during the sort of year that we've had?
It's very difficult to say. I've spoken to, some of the people here whose life it is growing the vegetables, and for instance, leeks were turned into seed within 10 days, 12 days. It had gone from a perfect plant to just burst with seed. Now, as the ordinary gardener goes, I really don't know what you could have done this year. This year was exceptional in the weather conditions.
It must have given you quite a bit of a headache. I mean, you said you had to cancel the show we had in the spring, and then you think, oh my God, we've had all this heat over the summer months, and you're sort of sat there waiting for things to pop through your door with people entering this year.
Indeed, it was. There was a little bit of panic on Tuesday morning. I sent an email to all the members of the committee, encouraging them to speak to their friends, almost begging people to enter. And as of Wednesday lunchtime, I think I'd made it to 12 entries. Thursday evening at 7 o'clock when they closed, I'd hit 64. So whilst the work was up a little bit on the Wednesday and the Thursday, it turned it into the show that we've got today.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows the Plympton community does rally around when it comes to an event like this.
Absolutely, yes, it's good. But at the end of the day, it's... I've got people that are still putting in one or two exhibits, whereas maybe in other years there'd have been vegetables to go with it or flowers to go with it, but they've still stuck in the one or two. So we've got a show for the judges to judge and for people to come along and see.
In an ancient stunnery town, with programs just for you, the Plympton Podcast.
In the spring this year, Grania Phillips became the new High Sheriff of Devon. Kevin Watland has been talking with her.
I'm the new High Sheriff of Devon, yes. I did my declaration on the 5th of April.
You're actually a farmer lady, aren't you?
I am a farmer, yes. We have a herd of pedigree Red Ruby Devon cattle. We sell box beef and a lot of breeding stock.
It's not an easy job to be a farmer these days, actually, and also be on High Sheriff of Devon, is it?
Well, it takes a lot of time being a farmer. You're at it all the time. But then they always say, if you want a job done, ask a busy person, don't they?
The High Sheriff of Devon actually goes right back to Saxon times. There's always 55 High Sheriffs in England and Wales, isn't there?
That sounds about right, yes.
You've got to be appointed by the county, is it?
Well, you're appointed by the Queen. She pricks us with a bodkin. But in fact, it is chosen by a committee. Well, different counties, I think, are possibly different, but in Devon, the High Sheriff in your area puts together a little committee to choose the next one. And in Devon, it's rotated around 4 quarters of the county.
A lot of people get mixed up with the High Sheriff to the Lord Lieutenant, don't they?
The Lord Lieutenant's a permanent post, whereas the High Sheriff is only for a year.
Yeah, what made you feel yourself actually being High Sheriff? It's a proud to be in the county, but you carry on this old tradition, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful, yes. I think it's a great tradition. It doesn't, the chivalry, the High Sheriffs don't cost anyone anything. We support ourselves.
The old history, actually, of the High Sheriff, actually, you don't get sort of any money from it, actually, and it's an honour, actually, appointed to you, but you also represent the Queen, actually, in Devon, is that right?
That's right. But our job, because the Lord Lieutenant also represents the Queen, and his job is to look after the royal families, particularly when they're visiting, and the High Sheriff's job is to look after the judiciary. So when we have visiting High Court judges or family judges, and also the magistrates, the police, the prison services, probation services.
You also got actually a police actually cadet. Have you appointed to you?
I have a police cadet, yes, a young lad called William King.
So he take care of you actually when you're on tour, is that right?
Well, in principle, it's just what I can get him out when I can. isn't that often, because obviously he's still at school and quite busy, but when we can, we try and get out together.
What sort of costume? Do you choose your costume yourself?
Yeah, I got it made locally, actually, because I'm very keen to support Devon industry. A lovely lady called Wendy Kaufman in Plymouth made it for me. She designed it. It's lovely.
Do the High Sheriff now sit on the bench now?
We can join the judges and the magistrates, but we don't actually do any judging. We can sit in with them.
There's really a lot of powers that are taken away from the High Sheriff, actually. Like years ago, the High Sheriff was very, very important, and especially in Cornwall, the High Sheriff of Cornwall used to be the mayor or the county, the same as what I think Devon was. But do you actually go down to Plymouth to the Lord Mayor of Plymouth?
Certainly can do. Certainly get together with Plymouth, Lord Mayor of Plymouth and Lord Mayor of Exeter.
And there's a second part to that interview, which we'll be hearing a little later on. Now back to our chat with the Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Chris Mavin. He explained to Charlotte Willis why he had entered politics.
I didn't start off in politics per se. I started off in the trade union movement when I was very young. I went into the dockyard and got involved in the trade union at a very young age. As I went through the trade union, a lot of my colleagues said to me at the time, as you go to branch meetings, you're getting more and more political with the things that you say. And I always argued that you couldn't go to work and divorce from what was happening at home, and you couldn't go home and divorce from what was happening at work. The two had a tremendous bearing on each other. And I began to realise then that, that if you wanted to be truly involved in the trade union movement and you wanted to truly be involved in what happened in people's lives, then politics and the trade union movement went together hand in hand. I looked then at sort of my beliefs in life and what my political beliefs were. And the thing that I could most recognise in me was the things that the Labour Party believed in. And I decided to join the Labour Party and get involved in politics. And that's how I became involved.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So you're not going in studied books after books, which is, some people go in that way, they go to uni and do politics that way.
No. My studying was the politics of life. As I live life, as I say, born in Plymouth and brought up in Efford and then Devonport, and really just it was how this city works and the people that live in it, and what people wanted was the same things that I wanted as such, and as much as that listen to what people have got to say and what they tell you, and then act on it, and that's my political belief.
The Plympton Podcast.
If you see somebody showing any of the signs of a stroke, you don't have to think about it, you just dial 999. Use the FAST test. F. Face. Has their face fallen on one side? Can they smile? A. Arms. Can they raise both arms and keep them there? S. Speech. Is their speech slurred? T. Time. Time to call 999 if you see any one of these signs. Act fast, make the call, dial 999.
I love my brother. We do fun things like playing together. I like having hugs with Freddie. Freddie gives the best hugs. Freddie used to be very poorly, and the doctor said he might need a new liver. Then one day, a very nice person gave their liver to Freddie. It was amazing. We were so happy. Now he's around to give me more hugs than ever.
Tell your family you want to save lives. To find out more, visit organdonation.nhs.uk.
Andrew Hill. Now back to my chat with Plympton Show Secretary Paul Hutchings. Given the rise this year in the domestic science and craft entries, I asked him whether there would be any difficulty in getting everything into the hall if the flower and veg exhibits return to their normal levels next year.
That's always the big fear. That's the Wednesday night fear. What's going to happen tomorrow, the last day of entry? And this year we haven't had to spill into the smaller committee room with the pot plants. Everything is in the main hall. But next year, if it's a normal year, yes, I get back to cold sweats Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, trying to fit it all in.
And you've come up with the photographic exhibits this year on boards that are a bit more noticeable for the exhibitors and the viewing public here.
Indeed, it's all the time I'm thinking about how we can best use the space available. and possibly expand, making it interesting for the people who come along and have a look, expand into the use of Harewood House, and just give more space for more exhibits. I'm grateful to the people who helped me throughout the staging period of the show, because the exhibits have to be moved carefully, at least half a dozen times in some cases. The classic this year was a gentleman came up to me, there isn't any space for my cabbages, and I just turned around saying, well, there's enough space there, and fell over one of the cabbages. It was larger than a football. It was larger than a beach ball.
I've seen that one on the bench. What's that? I don't know if you've seen it, but I don't know what they are. They're like great big round things with long bits that tail off the top. No one seems to know what they are. Are you able to shed any light on it?
They are a form of squash.
Oh, right.
And I don't know whether when they're dried out they would be termed a gourd or what, but I've never seen them before.
No, I mean, everyone's been looking at those and saying, what are these? Everyone's scratching their head, but those squashes, all right, well, you've answered the mystery question. So, obviously, your group meets every month. If people are interested in honing their gardening skills, what can they do to get in touch?
Come along to Harewood House the first Thursday in each month. We always have our group meeting on the first Thursday in the month at 7:30 Harewood House. We've considered sort of holding talks at our meetings about various types of gardening, and also maybe a talk on showing and things like that to try and get people interested.
Okay. Well, Paul, congratulations on another successful show, notwithstanding the difficulties that have been behind the scenes this year. And obviously, may this go from strength to strength. And next year, I think it's your 70th one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's not my 70th show, but it is Plympton Gardener's 70th show. Yes, it's actually Plympton Gardener's 70th show, my 40th wedding anniversary, so I may be helped out as well.
Right. Okay. Well, Paul, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Our Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Chris Mavin's first occupation was as a shipwright. He explained to Charlotte Willis why he chose this as a career.
It was sitting at a dockyard exam and passing the exam and then thinking, well, what do I want to do when I grow up? And I never saw myself as being the type of person that could go out and do an office job or anything like that. I wanted to be out building things. I always enjoyed doing things with my hands, and shipbuilding was great. And all of my career in the dockyard, the great things was I can remember working on the big ships when I was younger, the old Art Roll, the Eagle, the Bulwark, and things like that, and doing a variety of different jobs on those. And then as my career went on, then onto the nuclear submarine side, and particularly on the Vanguard submarines, the Trident missiles submarines, and then from there, the diversity in the dockyard is so fantastic that, we used to work on trains and do repairs on trains up and down the country, and go up to London, up to Crystal Palace, and do repairs up there. But then the last job I did, or becoming a senior trade union rep in the dockyard, was to work on the RNLI lifeboats. So at the one end of the scale, you got some of the most frightening missile systems in the world with the Trident missile program. And then at the other end of the scale, you've got these lifeboats that the dockyard used to make, that Babcock used to make, that really are, they are one's massive weapon of destruction, and the other one's the boat that goes out when everybody else is coming home. And their sole aim is to go out and save people's lives. And that diversity is the thing that gets you in that whole trade. So, to be a shipwright, to my mind, was the last great occupation that there really was. A boat builder that second to none.
Back now to the High Sheriff of Devon, Grania Phillips. She's been telling Kevin Wadland more about the role of High Sheriffs.
It doesn't cost the country anything, and High Sheriffs can do an awful lot of good. A lot of the time High Sheriffs get involved in charitable work, raising the profiles of charities, and some of them do fundraising for charities.
Have you got a charity this year for your High Sheriff?
Well, there are three strands of charity work I'm interested in. One is obviously because I'm a farmer, for the farmers, so there are three farming charities, which I would like to help out if they want some help. And then the other side of things is that there are an awful lot of land-based rehabilitation organisations. So, for example, there's I visited one a few weeks ago down in near Dartmouth, where their ex-prisoners actually work in, it's more like a market garden, really.
Yeah.
And there are all sorts of those, and they're actually very good. And we've got one in the village next door to us, a place called Amber, which takes young offenders or youngsters who've gone off the rails, really.
Do you actually get any awards, actually, as High Sheriff, or is that still a lieutenant?
We give awards. We do give awards, yes. There are High Sheriff awards. And, of course, the other big charity, which all High Sheriffs across the country support, is Crime Beat, which is in coordination with the police force. We're trying to prevent crime among youngsters.
Actually, as High Sheriff of Devon, actually, I know you're busy actually going to the Devon County show, and you go to other places and that, and meetings and that, and committees and that. And what would like to say to people actually who's lying in Derford also, or maybe online, actually as the Sheriff of Devon?
Well, I hope everybody in Derford Hospital recovers as quickly as they possibly can, and I could always make a visit if anybody would find that interesting. We do also support the hospital services and all the emergency services.
So it's not an easy job to be High Sheriff, actually, to be a farmer, actually, with these new laws coming in, all these alterations with the government at the moment. It's not so easy, actually. I know the farmers do a very good one for the farmers, actually. We win our meat, we win our vegetables, we win everything in our local shops, and it's the farmers to keep us running, isn't it?
Well, farmers keep everybody fed, that's certainly true.
Well, thank you, actually, for what you do, actually. You know, you're new appointed for 12 months to 2018 and 2019, and you go around to all these functions representing Devon. I say, High Sheriff of Cornwall, or Devon, I'd like to thank you for coming on the phone and speaking to me today.
Well, very good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Prior to becoming Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Chris Mavin was heavily involved in the GMB union. He explained to Charlotte Willis what the modern-day role of a trade union is.
The unions have got a tremendous role to play, as I said earlier on, that there's a lot that you do at work and you do at home that you can't divorce from each other. And what you'll find is that a trade union is always there to help and support you when you need them most. You know, when you get yourself into difficulty, or you find that there's things that you can't quite resolve and get around, and you know where to look for help. The union's always there to hold your hand and to help you through those difficult moments in your life when you need some help. So, you know, they can look after your welfare at work, or, you know, look after your terms and conditions of, you know, not every employer could always be a good employer or will always be a good employer. And it's good to have some backup and support there when you need it. And certainly the GMB trade union have played a significant part in my life and some of the things that I've managed to do and achieve through them and with them.
Okay. Now, you're in a choir. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, I'm fortunate to be in the Plymouth Area Police Choir and enjoy that immensely. It's originally started with all the Plymouth Police, although it's not Plymouth Police, you know, completely now. There's a tremendous set of guys in there that sing. It's a male voice choir. Tremendous set of guys that sing in there. Made me feel extremely welcome from the time that I joined them. And, you know, what we're trying to do is encourage more people to come along and enjoy the singing. And there's always a place where you can fit in. If you can sing, you will fit in a choir. We'll find a place, and the guys will find a place for you to fit in there. Our musical director is Brian Gary, and tremendous support that we get from Brian. And we really enjoy it. We go around singing at lots of different events for, you know, helping in to raise money for charity. Enjoy it immensely, all of us, and hopefully it will continue for a long, long time to come.
What type of things do you sing? If you just sort of give us a flavour of what you might do or what you might cover.
Well, there's all sorts of things. We can sing, you know, some of the more modern songs, or we could go back and do Jolson, or we can do things that, you know, that you just wouldn't have expected from a choir. It depends really what we're doing and what arrangements we're doing, and that can range from, you know, that can start from Christmas concerts right through to concerts or a big summer concert we just had in the Central Hall in Plymouth back in June. A tremendous success, and it was a great concert to be involved in.
And finally, I see you're a keen golfer.
Very keen golfer. Some people would call me a bit of a bandit occasionally, I think, but no, I enjoy playing golf immensely. That's my bit of relaxation, if you like, away from all the other things that I do. I'm a member up at Plympton Park Golf Club. And enjoy playing up there, very much so. But I'm also a member of two societies as well. One is just a bunch of guys who get together called the Monthly Marauders, and we get together once a month to go out and just enjoy a social life together with each other, playing golf, and we do enjoy that immensely. But the second one, the second society I belong to, is an organisation called the McGillies. And the McGillies get together to raise money for charity, particularly for men's cancers. And we all enjoy doing that. And again, it's once a month, and we run a little league while we're doing that as well. And I'm currently sitting at the top of that league, and was joint top last year. So yeah. But anyway, it's some of the guys are the same in both groups. But we all get together, and with the McGillies now, there are some female members of the organisation that come out and play with us, and we do enjoy it immensely. And as I say, long may that continue too, because that is my bit of relaxation. And the wife, sometimes she says she's a golf widow, and other times she'll say she enjoys that. Why don't you go out and play golf?
Sadly, comes to the end of the show tonight. I'd like to thank you very much for coming in and spending your time talking to the patients. I'm sure that's been very much appreciated, and it's been very much fact-finding as well.
Well, every bit of it has been my pleasure. I mean, I've really enjoyed myself here tonight, and I hope people have enjoyed listening to me too. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, alas, that's it for another month. The theme music to this podcast has been provided by audionautics.com. Hope you've enjoyed the features and interviews we've had this time, and until the next edition, thanks for listening, and bye for now.
The Plympton Podcast.